This is my top 5 video game whatever of 2011. Best cutscene goes to Infamous 2. This is a little closer to the end of the game. He's already gotten lots of powers, found lots of blast cores, and he's already taken out a bunch of militiamen and stuff like that. So he finally takes an opportunity to just kick back and relax with his best friend, having some beers, not even talking, ignoring calls from other characters in the game, you know, women, really having a bro moment. No orchestra swells, no melodramatic monologues or tearful shouting, just like quiet understanding. We don't get to see this anywhere else in the game. I think the sweetest thing about this cutscene is hours later, after the movie's over, they wake up from their drunken sleep. Cole very quietly takes the blast core slightly off center of the camera and he activates it, I think, so as not to wake up Zeke, and I think that's very bro. Best quest line goes to the companions in Skyrim. Now that's not just because it's the only quest line I've completed so far in Skyrim. I have never played an Elder Scrolls game before. I haven't played a lot of Bethesda or Obsidian stuff. I played very little of Fallout 3, and I played all of Fallout New Vegas, which I didn't like very much. To me, games with quests and missions and stuff like that often just feel like a bunch of people telling me to go somewhere in this big, beautiful world to be bored. But all my roommates were all about Skyrim, so I was like, I'll give this a shot. I'm a fighter, why don't I join the companions? They're all like rough and tumble barbarian guys. I was delighted to find out that if I become a companion, I could become a werewolf. And I was obliterated when I found out being a werewolf means you don't get a rested bonus from sleeping, which means you level up much more slowly. At first, I was furious, and I was like, this is what video games are about. This is a challenge. The game has throw down the glove and be like, we took away your precious rested effect. Now you go and get it back. And I was like, all right, forget the story, forget the Dovahkiin, whatever. I'm gonna go and cure my lycanthropy. And along the way, there's actually a pretty good story in there. The guy in charge of the companions is like, I don't like being a werewolf either. Let's take care of it. So you go and assassinate some witches and take back their heads. When you go back to find the guy, you find out he's been murdered by the people who you pissed off. You're stuck as a werewolf. He's stuck in werewolf afterlife when he wants to be in regular Nord afterlife. So now you gotta get revenge for him. You gotta perform the ceremony to turn his ghost into a not werewolf, and then to turn yourself into a not werewolf. And along the way, you find his journal in a drawer, and it's like, oh, this guy, he showed up, and I had dreams about him leading the companions to glory, and I want to be with him there for years and years. And you're like, oh man, that would be true if he wasn't dead because of me. And once you cure your werewolfism, you realize you can never go back to being a werewolf, and you realize how often being able to turn into a werewolf at will actually saved your ass. So really, what have you lost? What have you gained? It's very personal, and it taught me a lot about what Skyrim can do and what these Elder Scrolls games are all about. The best environment this year was the Darkroot Basin in Dark Souls. So you find this blacksmith, and you walk into the room next to him, and you find a giant, headless, legless, tailed, giant living statue with a staff, and he could shoot lightning at you. This is a phenomenal thing. It's so weird, and it comes out of nowhere, and you're wondering why the blacksmith didn't tell you about it. But you're like, okay, this guy is trying to kill me, let me try to kill him. You will die a bunch of times before you realize, oh, I could just go around him. And when you do, you discover Darkroot Garden. And it's this lush, green, beautiful place with lush, green, beautiful things that try and kill you. And once you get past them, you may find a message on the ground that says, go to your right. Then you're descending down these slopes into this valley, going down into this infinite green darkness that you can't see the bottom of until you go further and further down. And you're like, this isn't just some bottomless hole like there are in video games. I'm actually going to reach the bottom of this place. Suddenly you're in this glen with these big hulking things that golems, but they're made of like crystals or some kind of mineral. They lumber at you, and then they leap at you and they attack you. You've come a long way. You don't want to die now. You're being very careful. You're dodging these guys' blow. You're hitting them as hard as you can. As you're fighting these guys, suddenly, out from something that looks like a mirage in the distance, these beams of light come at you, and they explode all around you, and you die. And you didn't even see it. You don't know how it happened, you don't know why it happened, you don't know who did it, but it happened to you. So now you gotta go back down there, run past the headless lightning statue, down into the valley. As you approach the beams of light, keeping your shield up and just barely surviving, you see the biggest goddamn creature you've seen in like any video game, just sitting in the lake, shooting light at you like you're just the worst thing in the world and you need to die. And if you're like me, you're like, I've got to kill this thing. And you die like 30 times, but you do it. So then you could go over the lake, up the ladder, then you're in this forest, and you see something like this cat, but it's huge out in the distance, and then suddenly it's like spinning like Sonic the Hedgehog, and then it's ramming into you, almost taking all of your life away, and then you see two more just like it, they're all coming at you, and this game is just discovery after discovery after discovery, challenge after challenge, and you're constantly like, what am I gonna see next? Dark Souls' entire world is like one of the coolest, most unique, cohesive worlds in video games, but Darkroot Basin, I think, is like the most amazing ecosystem in the whole game in terms of how many single unique moments you run into. The single best level in a video game this year is Pirate Treasure! From Rayman Origins. Now, I got Rayman Origins for Christmas this year. I had no idea how good it would be. It is so good. I mean, it's Rayman, so it doesn't quite have the appeal of, you know, Sonic Generations, or Donkey Kong Country Returns, or New Super Mario Bros. Wii, or Kirby's Epic Yarn, all those other platformer revivals of the past couple of years. But I gotta tell you, Rayman Origins might be the best, probably because it learns so much from all the others. There are certain levels in this game where you chase an anthropomorphic treasure chest that doesn't want to be opened through this gauntlet of moving sceneries and exploding things, ups and downs, and swimming and bouncing and crushing, and the whole screen is scrolling, so you gotta just keep running. You're going at top speed the whole time. And when you play multiplayer, when you die, you turn into a bubble and you float towards another player so they could revive you. Playing this level with multiple people, imagine watching your favorite sports team playing and also sometimes being on that sports team. First you're running, you're doing great, and you die, but your friends are still going, so you're like, yeah, keep going. But then you could float in, and suddenly they bring you back, so you're all running, and then they die, so it's all on you, but they're still floating around, they're still waiting for you to save them, and when things look really bad, you save them, and you're all back again, and you're all like ready to go. There's 3 of you, so even if one of you dies, there's still 2 of you, and you can still do it. You can still really do your goddamn best, and it's so cool. And then, you know, you fail a bunch of times, but it doesn't matter, because as soon as you die, the level restarts. It doesn't even ask you if you want to continue. It doesn't tell you it's a game over. The game just keeps playing. It keeps telling you, keep playing, and you're like, yeah, I will. The best use of interrogation for the year goes to Deus Ex Human Revolution. Now, I'm not crazy about this game. I like a lot of the ideas it has, but it has that sandbox feel I was talking about, where it's like, you know, lots of people telling you to do things, and a lot of it's pretty samey. The parts that I thought were the most interesting was when you were having these one-on-one dialogues with characters, and it was from your perspective, and you're just looking at them and the way they react to what you're saying. And it feels like it's all on you, you know? Like, what are you gonna say next? Like, how are you gonna steer the conversation? I remember in that first mission where it's the hostage situation with the guy and the lady, I totally screwed that up. The lady's husband was like, why didn't you save her? And I was like, sorry, man. I don't mention this so much to honor Human Revolution as to shame L.A. Noire. L.A. Noire has a similar thing where you interrogate people to, you know, get the answers you need and progress the game, but it's just so much lazier. Human Revolution scripted out each event, so you knew every tactic you're going to use, you knew everything you're going to say before you would say it, and then they took every combination of things you could say and figured out what the outcome would be. But in L.A. Noire, your only options are truth, doubt, lie. It's not that long a game. Why didn't they just write out unique options for every interrogation? Also, I just want to say I really hate it that your 3 options are truth, doubt, and lie. Because truth and lie describe the things that are being said by the person you're talking to, but doubt describes what you want to do to them. Those 3 things really aren't alike, and it's confusing when you first play it, and it pisses me off even after I understand it. The other thing is that in Human Revolution, because you know what Adam is going to say, you're like on the same page. You and Adam are in it together. But in L.A. Noire, man, Cole is as much an adversary as anyone else is. You have no idea what he's going to say. You have no how he's going to fly off the handle, or how he's going to make conclusions that you did not make. Like, whatever. And that's my best video game miscellany for the year. Now, before I go, I just want to say that the worst video game of the year was The Third Birthday, which feels great to say now. Now that my expectation is that nothing good will come from Square Enix ever again, I'm actually really excited at the prospect that they'll ever make something good again. My favorite industry fiasco goes to the Silent Hill 2 HD Collection voice casting, which it turns out isn't even a thing now, because both the old voice cast of Silent Hill 2 and the new voice cast of the Silent Hill 2 HD collections are together in one game, probably because of videos from guys like me.